can dynamically generate this board and what happens. So let's go ahead and run our example. And we should delete that as
All right,
well.
guys, I'm
we
back.
don't need it anymore.
I made some good progress, kind of copying this guy's approach to creating a board of tiles. And so what I have here is a board of tiles, and this one is 62 by 60 tiles. So it's 62 wide and 60 tall. And that's just some napkin math that I did to kind of estimate the width and height of a Mechabellum board. So I'm really using this game as my reference. So it's the width of this part of the board plus the 2 flank zones. So there's an extra width over here where you can't place units there, but your opponent actually can. So yeah, we got that, and then I determined that this is 30, and I determined that this is 50, I think. Yeah, and so we'll see if my math is right or what happens, but going for a very similar look, basically. Instead of a futuristic look, we're going to go with a medieval, magical, Warcraft 3 kind of look. So, yeah, happy I got a board here, and this is going to be the first step in the game where you can place your units on the map, and I'll show you a screenshot in a second of what I'm thinking for that. Let's see. I gotta make sure to close things that are not useful before I start these streams. Okay, so did I just lose the window? I think I did. Man, I gotta get used to this stuff. Okay, so we're just gonna go back to YouTube. Is this it? No, that's not it. That's not it. I got way too much stuff open. Okay, let me just pause this stream for a second. Alright, we gotta figure out where everything that we want is. So where is that tutorial with that guy? Battleship episode 10.
Hello and welcome back to the channel. The series.
No, it's episode 11 that we want.
Hello and welcome back to the, and move them to the top, that way it's easier access. And what we'll do is drag and drop that detail about the board units, but there are, and right now those, let's go ahead and click play.
Okay.
And voila.
Okay, and yeah, this
So
software is trash.
Our board generated.
Oh, that's the wrong one. That's why.
So we have
this one.
2 boards
Okay.
basically, and right now you can't really tell
just
about the
that.
board units, but there are board units here, right? So basically,
cool.
If we,
so yeah, this is the part in the
to
tutorial
start,
where he gets the board
under
units
board manager,
working,
we have
and
board 1,
I'm going with board tiles
unit
instead
1,
because
and it will go all the way
I
down.
want the tiles to control where they get placed, but he's making a battleship game where the units stay fixed. In our game, the units are going to be able to move around so they can fight each other. So let's just move
until
forward.
it generates the 10
so
by
I could
10 grid.
probably do the
And
same
then
thing as him.
eventually what we are going to do is start generating the first unit of the second board, and similarly we do that. Okay, so pretty cool, pretty straightforward. And obviously later on what we'll do is also learn how to extend this board unit to apply some materials to it, some board space canvases so we can identify the actual board with unique numbers and etc. But before doing that, let's go ahead and see what the board manager, how the board manager actually executed this code. So let's bring this up. So we have the parent transform, we have the board unit prefab object that we are utilizing to generate the board itself. Then we have some sort of a data structure. In this case, again, a two-dimensional.
I'm going to put this on double speed because I've already done this.
Array of team objects of size 10 by 10. And what we are doing over here is that we are going to.
And I'll walk through mine after he's done.
When we are creating the player's board, we have two loops, right? The first loop is going to be for the rows, and the second loop is going to be for the columns. And basically, this iterates over it. Inside the iteration, we are instantiating our board unit prefab, but we are positioning it based on the units. In this case, the indices that are coming from the row and the column. And what we are doing is that we are attaching it to some sort of a parent object. In this case, the parent happens to be the transform that we have associated to the game manager. The next thing what we are doing is that we are applying some sort of a name using the string formatter. So we have B1 and we are passing in the row and the column, and we are formatting it to the C# numeric string, in this case, utilizing it with 2 digits. And eventually what we are doing is that we are storing that game object that we just instantiated into our board array at that particular space, because later on we are going to utilize this to determine whether that particular space is going to be occupied or not. And then obviously over here, we are updating the name and incrementing our rows and our columns. So this is pretty much the logic for it. Right. And so we have the board, the creating AI board is kind of the same. So same mechanism, but we are starting our columns and rows. We are basically displacing them by X amount. And if you notice, our actual board unit itself was 1 by 1, which makes it super easy, right? So we are all incrementing by 1 unit. So in this case, we are displacing it at 11, wherever that 11 meters is. And from there, we go from 11 to 21 and so forth. So that generates and gives us the proper layout for this particular dimensions.
Great.
All right, so that's it. This is how you would auto-generate the actual board. And one thing that we should also do is the following. Let's go ahead and select the camera, and let's align it with the view. So that.
Okay. So one other thing he does there is aligning the camera with the view. I want to take a look at this. So if I look at tile 0, 0, I do want this to be player 1, so-called. So let's see. So that's that tile, right? So, and then I would think that the okay, so the way it's going to work is 0, 60, that's player 2's right. So I would want to orient the camera like this. Kind of from overhead, player 1 view. Could put a little bit of an angle to it so that we can still see the 3D part of it. I think this is good. Yeah, this will do for now. I can change it later. Yeah, let's just make sure the whole board is visible actually, while still keeping the 3D effect. So I'm actually gonna do it like this. Okay, so let's see how he did that.
One thing that we should also do is the following. Let's go ahead and select the camera, and let's align it with the view.
Okay, so we click on camera, and we say align with view. Okay.
So that way we can actually see this particular generated board. And let's go ahead and copy the component of the camera, because if we turn the runtime off, it will be reset to its original position. Let's go ahead and now paste those values back into the transform of the camera.
How did he copy the component?
Be reset to its original position. Let's go ahead and now paste those values back into the
copy component, and then does he stop the program?
Off. It will be reset to its original position. Let's go ahead and now paste those values back into the transform of the camera. And if we run it again, it's going to give us the proper.
Paste. I'm not really sure what he did there. Oh, I see. I thought I copied it. Okay, pretty confused, but let's start it and see what happens. Okay, so we can see it did not do what we wanted. And if I go to scene, this is the scene that we have, and this is, yeah, this is, so I'd rather just have it like, so that's 0. Okay, so that's 0, 0. And that one is 61. Okay, so that's cool. So this is where we should be looking from. Cool, I like this. So let me go back to the video and see what he did. I think he clicks on camera.
Let's
just go back.
The runtime off. It will be reset to the component of it. So that one thing that we should also do is the following. Let's go ahead and select the camera and let's align it with the view. So that way.
It's notable that he keeps the game open separately. I see. So that's why he puts this thing down here, because he can do a whole lot more by giving himself more space to work with. That makes a lot of sense. Okay. So let's do that. And so we can go here and click here and say align with view. So that way we can see that the game is aligned with the camera view. And now what is it?
We can actually see this particular generated board. And let's go ahead and copy the component of the camera.
So if we click here and say copy component. I don't know what that does, but his seems to be different. We might just have to copy this. I don't know why he's able to do it, but not me. Okay, let's just see. So let me just look really closely.
So that way we can actually see this particular generated board. And let's go ahead and copy the component of the camera. Because actually see this particular generated board. And let's go ahead and copy.
So it's under transform. Okay. Copy component. Okay. I don't know what that did, but it did something.
The component of the camera. If we turn.
So we just go to transform, copy component.
The runtime off, it will be reset to its original position. That's why then now paste those values back into the transform.
Okay, now we stop. And we go here and we say paste component values. Got it. Okay. Cool. So we can see that there is no game board on either of them, which is expected because the game board gets generated at runtime. Cool. So yeah, now if I start the game, we should be able to see the board here. Nice.
Camera, and if we run it again, it's going to give us the proper perspective for it. Very cool. All right, so that's it for this video. I'm trying to keep this video short because they do take quite a bit of time, but hopefully this was a good starter. In the next video, what we'll do is start enhancing the board unit and be able to actually interact it visually, and then we'll also apply some interactive abilities to it. Very cool. So let me go ahead and stop sharing this. All right, so thank you for stopping. Hello my friends and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be doing a very short and quick video on the enhancement of the board unit, and let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
So his approach is going to be very different.
We had a board manager, and within the board manager he had the code that was going to utilize some sort of a prefab for us, and then we were going to generate the board and store it in a two-dimensional array. So let's go back to the Unity.
It might be good actually to commit to the repo. at this point, since I have something mildly significant that works. So I don't think I have a repo. So we can go ahead and do this. And then I can go to GitHub and create a new repo. We can call it, I don't have a name for this game, but we just call it board game. That sounds fine. Yeah, I'll make it public for now. Anybody can follow along. And cool. So we have this. So I'll just tell the AI what I did. I just created a new empty repo at. Make sure the changes locally are pushed there. All right, cool. So we pushed it. What is Mathematica? Good to know what Mathematica is, but probably not that important. All right, let's take a look at what this guy does next.
Editor, and let's go to our prefab. And in our prefab, what I've done is that I've incorporated a canvas. This is a world space canvas. So by default, whenever you create a canvas, the canvas...
Let me go ahead and slow this down.
Is screen space. In our case, we want this particular canvases to be world space. And to do that, you just change the render mode to world space. And the other thing that I did is that I changed the dimensions to 100 by 100. And more importantly, I scaled it down to 0.01, 0.01 on the X and the Y axis. This actually makes it super nice and exactly fits it on our board unit the way you see it over here. The next thing I did is I created a panel. A panel is a container that will be utilized to contain other UI elements in there. So this is perfect for grouping. Do you need to have a panel? Not necessarily. You don't actually need to have a panel. You can directly just create a TextMesh Pro. In this case, we are utilizing a TextMesh Pro UI component to represent the caption, as you can see over here. Okay, so that's kind of like the structure of the board unit as of right now. This might change in the future. Actually, it will change in the future. So what I've done is create an empty parent as a root of the board unit. Then we have our default game cube, if you recall that we scaled it down on our previous episode. And then we have added this canvas where it's going to be utilized to display some information as far as the location of that particular board unit across the whole board. So this is going to be useful for us later on for debugging purposes, right? And in the canvas, again, we have a panel, and the panel contains a TextMesh Pro. Lastly, what we did is we have a panel, and the panel contains a TextMesh Pro.
TextMesh Pro. I don't think we did that in the past. Let's take a look at our thing. So this is board unit. I have a board tile. Which has nothing on it he's got a root board unit. Yeah. Let's see. A board manager. I have a cube. Inside of the cube is a board tile. I think this is called root board tile. Okay, so yeah, we have the root board tile, we have the board tile, and then he has a canvas panel text mesh. Maybe that's what he was just describing, so maybe we'll go back.
And in our prefab, what I have done is that I have incorporated a canvas. This is a world space canvas.
Okay, so let's do that. So we're gonna create a canvas. I think canvas should be somewhere here. Here. But it's not under board tile, it's just we have root board tile. There's something I'm doing wrong here. So huh. This has kind of got me stumped. I'll go back to the last video, see if
Hello
I
and
missed
welcome
something.
back to the channel. It's been a while since I released a video. Because if we
So if we look at his, he just has a
turn the
board
runtime off,
manager.
it will be reset to its original position. Let's go ahead and now paste those values back into the transform of the camera.
What happened to that
And if we run
cube
it
that he
again,
made?
it's going to give us the proper perspective for it. Very cool. All right, so that's it for this video. I'm trying to keep this video short because they do take quite.
Okay, so he
And
makes the cube.
Let's go ahead and keep the. We are going to change some of the scaling over here, so we'll keep it at the unit scale. So X and the Z axis are going to be 1 unit axis, so not to through code prescale. Right, so if you don't have with term, you whatever it is, this part is anywhere the prefab unit create the same name and transforming from B. Okay, we need to.
Here we
It's
go.
all good. Okay, cool. So the next step would be, okay, we need to somehow auto-generate this.
Oh, so he's saying you just delete this. We don't need the cube. Let's see. So if I delete this, and then I run the program, we still get the board. And if I were to zoom out here, okay, so that cube was just a distraction. Got it. Okay, cool.
At runtime, in order for us to do that and move them to the top, that way it's easier access.
Board manager.
And what we'll do is drag and drop that board manager class over to the board manager and click play. You can actually see this particular generated board. And let's go ahead and copy the component of the camera, because if we turn the runtime
don't
off,
destroy unload.
it will
Okay.
be reset to.
Alright, figured that out. I am gonna stop streaming though, I'm getting sleepy.